Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. Actually, I think we're going to clash a little bit today. Not vocally or verbally. Johnny, just colours wise. I've gone burnt orange today, and you're familiar red.
I am a red.
Very smart too, very smart too. Anyway, apologies if you're watching in colour. If you're in black and white, it doesn't matter at all. So, Johnny, oh, goodness me, I'm exhausted, Johnny. It's been
Where have you been? I phoned you on a train going to London.
I was Sunday, and now let me go back to Saturday. So Saturday, I'm chair of the Swansea International Festival. It's a role I've had for a number of years, but we had one festival, and then COVID came, so there was nothing for 3 years, and we dipped our toes back in the water with a big concert at the Brangwyn Hall. That was on Saturday.
You had a fantastic lineup. I saw it.
It was amazing. Have you played? You have played the Brangwyn. You did it with Tom Jones.
With me and Tom.
You and Tom. Wow.
1966.
Oh, I mean, it is a beautiful room. It's a wonderful room. And
funny acoustics, if I remember.
Well, that's the thing. It's funny acoustics if you go there with Tom Jones and you take a band. If you've got a 70-piece orchestra and maybe 80 to 100 people in a choir.
That's all right then.
It is absolutely wonderful, sublime. I went there early in the morning because the thing is, when we do gigs, you used to have a couple of days rehearsal, don't you? Get the band in, everybody.
Right.
Well, with an orchestra, they turn up on the day and they're given the parts. And they read them,
They go, hang on, where we started? Letter D, okay, bang, 1, 2, 3, 4, straight in.
It was fantastic. So, and of course, so we had, the last concert we had in 2018, we had a commission with Sir Carl Jenkins, because he's a local boy, but he's the most successful living composer in the world, So so we commissioned him again with a new piece called This Faithful Life, which was written by a poet called Graham Davis. So we had that. So I went nice and early just to make sure the band had arrived, tidy band, make sure that Sir Carl was happy, and it was just terrific.
Didn't he write something ages ago called African Requiem or something?
Yeah,
it was a fantastic piece of music. I mean, I only met him once. I met him when we did a thing for Bryn Terfel. It was to raise money for not children in need. It was a variety club for children.
Right.
And he came as one of the guests.
Yeah.
Very unassuming little fella, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, I always call him Maestro because he's got this massive moustache. He's big.
He started off as a jazz musician, didn't he?
He was on Tubular Bells, I think. Or he's on Almadorn, one of those sort of like...
Yeah.
I think he was an oboe player. That's right. I interviewed him about it, and he's an oboe player. His dad said... I play the oboe, so should you. So he learned to play the oboe. Then, obviously, lots of music commercials, and then he had Addy Amos. Oh, Addy Amos, yabby, yabby, yabby. You know that one? That was a massive hit. And then, what's it? I mean, he's done. Anyway, Palladio, which is played on the harp, and Catherine Finch was also on the list.
Wow, Catherine Finch.
So we got British Sinfonietta, we got the Swansea Philharmonic Choir, we got Catherine Finch at the front.
She was Prince Charles's. Was she Prince Charles's harpist?
She was. She was the first royal harpist
since
Victoria.
Royal harpist. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, she's a magnificent player, and then hosting the whole thing, Hugh Edwards. And I've got to say.
Voice.
Oh, I mean, he was magnificent. That's all I can say. He was magnificent because, a lot of people I think had booked tickets to see Hugh. Apart from the music, they wanted to see Hugh Edwards in the flesh. And when he talks, I mean, you could hear a pin drop. He's very funny.
Yeah.
And he's just like, everything is so considered.
I know, but he's got a wonderful flow. He never short of a word.
Oh, no.
Doesn't manar anywhere.
No.
He's the David Dimbleby of Wales.
He is, yeah.
And I remember his father. Do you remember his father?
I sort of recognise him from photographs, but I don't.
Yeah, he used to do quite a lot on BBC Wales years ago.
So
in Welsh,
in the family business, and of course Hugh, he presented it in English and Gymraeg, so he was able to flip from one to the other very, very obviously seamlessly, and he loves the Welsh language. Incredible supporter for the festival, so that was good, and it was pretty much a sold out concert, which is in these days as he's starting back, because I'm the chair and we're responsible. I was terrified nobody would come.
They'd come with that lineup. So the money goes to what, charity?
No, so the festival is self-financing, but it is a charity, and our charitable aims are to provide music and arts for the region. So we had we had £10 tickets as well as £40 tickets. Some tickets were there for students, that we sponsored for them to have their own tickets for free. So, and the idea is to provide arts that wouldn't normally be presented in this part of the world. And actually working with the Swansea Philharmonic was fantastic because that's a local.
Lovely.
The conductor, obviously, Sir Carl conducted his pieces, but Jonathan Rogers, he's a
What's that very good musician from Swansea? I worked with him quite a lot. He used to be the MD at the Grand Theatre for a while.
Oh, John Quirk.
John Quirk, that's him. He's a good musician.
Oh, he's fantastic. He was in school with me. He was a couple of years older. And lunchtime, you'd just go and sit in the hall and hear him play the piano. It was fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. I did a couple of TV shows with him. He's great. Nice bloke, too.
Lovely boy. And then,
I was surprised how tall Hugh Edwards was. He's quite tall, isn't he?
He is.
Because I did when Phil Maddock died, they had a thing for him in London.
Right.
And Hugh did a speech and I did a bit as well.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking up at him.
He's very impressive. Put it this way, he's impressive on the TV. He's even more impressive in the flesh. And he didn't let us down, so that was lovely. And then you caught me on the train. I was on my way to do a charity concert in a place called the Kensington Temple in London, and it was hosted by Fiona Hendley Jones, and her husband Paul Jones. Now Paul Jones, from the Manfreds.
I remember him, yeah. Pretty Flamingo.
Oh, I mean, that record went all, Bruce Springsteen loved that record growing up. And the amazing thing is, so Paul is, I think he's 82 years old.
Never. Well, I suppose he must be.
Yeah.
He's older than me. He must be. Well, John Jones is 83.
Yeah.
We forget these people. They've been around forever.
And I think, objectively, I can stand back and say, he's gorgeous. I mean, he doesn't carry an ounce of extra weight.
No.
He has his harmonica with him. He played on with a couple of other people that night. But the thing is, Johnny, now then, he couldn't be more English. I mean,
he's posh.
He's posh. I mean, but then he loves the blues. Now, you must have gone through that in the 60s, where these posh boys like Mick Jagger, because I think he was originally asked to be the lead singer in the Rolling Stones and turned them down.
Well, see, but Jagger used to speak with quite a not posh, but a standard English accent.
Yeah.
And it's only since he went through the Stones he starts talking like that. No, it's like he's affected that accent, doesn't he?
Because the thing is, you don't normally talk with this accent. You normally talk very posh.
I talk very posh. I don't talk.
You only put the Welsh accent on when you have to do the podcast. No, it is strange, isn't it? And of course, Mick sings "Merry American," and honky tonk women. That's not London, is it?
There was a lovely series on TV. I forget what it was called now, but everybody was doing impressions.
Yeah.
And somebody was doing an impression of him, and he said, "Here, Keith, where's the marshmallows?" I'll never forget that. Where's the marshmallow? But see, these posh boys, they want to sing, as you say, like blues. They want to get down with the black guys in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they dress.
The guy I met who was very posh was Mike Rutherford.
Oh,
no,
yes.
Mike Rutherford. Mike and the Mechanics used to be Genesis.
Yes, of course.
He came on the ship when I was doing a show once, when he was on for a week.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a nice chap, so nice,
Yeah.
But this is a guy who talks like that and he plays polo.
Yeah. Well, I think they met at Charterhouse, the public school
Probably,
Charterhouse.
yeah. Everybody was in university except for the drummer. And he's made the most money.
I played against Charterhouse once in football. When I was in university, I mean, I was the token Welsh, what's it called? Not secondary school. What do we call them? Comprehensive school boy in Cambridge. I used to play for the university football team, the Eagles they were called. And we went down to Charterhouse. Right? Wow. How the other half lived. I mean, it was fantastic, this school. And they treated us very, very well, very, very well. Yeah. Very nice. Now then, so did you notice a change in the 60s? Because obviously you'd come up through you come up through the clubs and stuff, and then suddenly these posh boys started doing R&B, like proper, like blues, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I was a kid in the 60s. I was brought up in the 60s, so I was into things like Buddy Holly and people like that, and I remember, like, when I was very young, I can remember Bill Haley and the Comets and all that lot, starting the rock and roll. But what they did, they all pinched the black music, didn't they?
They did.
I mean, you take Elvis with blue suede shoes. No, was it blue? No. That was Carl Perkins.
Carl Perkins wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's All Right, Mama.
Right?
That's All Right, Mama. I think that was a.
Yeah, but You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog.
Yeah.
Was a black woman sang it first.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, he just took it on because black people couldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
You know, they could only play to the black communities in those days. But they had this great music, so. It's no wonder these people all wanted to pinch it and do it their way. But you'd get people like Andy Williams and people doing it, and it didn't work.
Go on, do an impression of Andy Williams doing it as a hound dog. Go on.
Pat Boone.
Yeah. Go on, have a little go. Go on, you do an impression. How would they do? How would they do hound dog? Somebody like Pat Boone or...
I don't know because I can't do impressions.
I said, "Well, you ain't nothing but a hound
dog,
rocking all the time."
It's crazy. It's totally different.
Yeah.
But they did it to sell to the white population in America. They would do that to give it to the other white guys to sing it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as good.
No.
You know.
Now it's funny.
First record I bought was I can't remember the title. It was Don't Let Your Dog Bite Me. Eeny, meeny, and miny, mo. Who was that? Fats Domino.
Oh, Fats.
That was my first record I ever bought.
Yeah.
And then I bought Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis. What was your first record?
I always want to say it's Get Back by the Beatles, but I think it might have been Leapy Lee's Little Yellow Arrows, which I...
He lives in Spain, you know.
Does he?
Yeah, he lives in Spain. And I was out there on holiday and I'm watching Spanish television. Who comes on talking in fluent Spanish? But Leapy Lee.
Leapy Lee, wow.
Because he was involved with a big scandal, wasn't he? Didn't he go to jail? There was him, and there was Diana Dawes' husband,
right?
The second husband. I've forgotten his name now. He's an actor.
Yeah.
And somebody got knifed in a pub, and I think he went to jail, Leapy Lee.
Oh, wow.
Because Gordon Mills, you know, what's his name? Tom Jones's manager. Yeah. He was Leapy Lee's manager as well.
Oh, wow. Well, there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. Well,
and then he had this one record, and that was it. He opted in. He went to jail. He came out, and he went to Spain.
Wow. Well, it's funny you mentioned Pat Boone, because I went to see Pat. Now, talking about sort of, you know, white people listening to black music and falling in love with it, which is what they always say about Keith Richards and people like Paul Jones, listening, going to buy those blues records, you know, Denmark Street and stuff. I went to see Pat Boone. Had my arm twisted because I wasn't a big Pat Boone fan in 1975 or 76, but he was playing at the Avon Lido.
Right.
He was there with a Swedish gospel choir called Coriolerna. They were the first half, and there was this guy from America who was doing the second half I'd never heard of at all. So Andre Crouch and the Disciples, that night changed my life. This little guy, you know, 4 foot tall, 5 foot wide, sat at the piano, and it was hundreds of them. It was like backing vocals, brass, Hammond organ. It was amazing, and he just tore the place up. And that's the night I sort of fell in love with gospel music. He was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So it was nice to sing. So I sang some gospel songs. We raised money for Ukraine. So it was nice. It was nice to go to London and then, you know, just do a little performing and then come back.
So did Paul Jones sing as well?
Yeah, he sang with Fiona, and he did a couple of sort of like gospel blues stuff, playing the harmonica. It was terrific. Then we had a couple of black gospel choirs, sounds of New Wine, some old sort of gospel singers that I'd worked with. Some people I hadn't seen for 20, 30 years, so it was lovely to catch up and to sing on the night. And it was a really good experience.
But you see a lot of these performers, we just heard them on radio or records, and we never saw them live. You know, when you see them live, some of them are great performers. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's people like Paul Anka.
Oh man!
You see him live; he's terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his first hit when he was 14.
Yeah.
What was it called? Oh, please stay by me, Diana.
The thing is, you know, they've done a million gigs, isn't it? That's the. You know, there's a film actually with it was Mick Jagger's company made the film called, I think they're called Jagged Films, and the lady in charge is from Swansea. I've never met her, but lady runs it for me. But they made a program about James Brown.
All right.
And it has James Brown performing on the same show as the Rolling Stones when they're like 18, 19 or 20. And it's a neat, you know, Mick Jagger and the Stones are anemic compared with...
Oh, yeah. He used to fall on his knees, didn't he?
James
they couldn't
Brown's-
put the cloak on him.
And he can,
This is a man's world.
it's brilliant. It's just like, because they've had to do, 3 gigs a night, 4 gigs a night. That's where they voice, where they perform. And you could see how they'd influenced not just the sound of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, but the way they perform, So
that's right. Yeah. It's not just standing and singing the song, is it?
Oh, man.
When you're out doing a concert, you got to do something else. Haven't you?
The funny thing was, I did this gig on Sunday at Kensington Temple, and the 2 acts on before me, one was a guy called Moyowa. He's sort of like Nigerian gospel singer, and he had 8 backing vocalists, big band. I mean, tore the place apart. Then he introduced Sounds of New Wine, again about 8 singers in the choir, and they were just brilliant. And I thought to myself, blinking heck, what do I do now?
So was it just you and your guitar? Was it
me and the piano? So I thought, you know what, I can't compete. I've got to do something completely different. So I sang a song about Evan Roberts, the Welsh revivalist, because people who got saved in the Welsh revival started Elim, and Kensington Temple was part of Elim, and then the Apostolics, they went to Nigeria, so Moyo and his family, they owe their allegiance to that. So just had to break, but the thing is, when you've done a lot of gigs, you know when not to compete, don't you?
Well, that's right, yeah.
It's
like if Sammy Davis was on tap dancing, I'm not going to do tap dancing.
You do some juggling. That's what you do. Tell a couple of gags. Maybe. So it was,
Mind you, when I was about 18, I probably would have, because when you're 18, you've got no fear, have you?
Got no fear.
I probably thought I can follow anybody, you know what I mean, when you're 18. Then you realise when you get older, you can't.
I had 2 songs booked, and I went up to the producer as the second choir on. I said, I'm changing my program. I'm not going to do those songs. I'm going to do something else. So it was fine. And then, it's going to be a busy week, see, because it's...
You've got another one coming up, haven't you?
Well, it's back in November. I finally get to finish my 2020 tour. My 2020 tour.
Okay.
These gigs were booked back in 2019. So
the COVID tour.
Oh man, it's just goes. It's been going on forever. They've been cancelled. They've been put back. I had COVID, and then Park and Dare this week. So I'm looking forward to that.
I like the Park and Dare. I did a panto there. It's nice.
It
nice
is
theatre.
Nice crowd. Nice. And then we're off to following week. It's TheMal&JohnnyShow in Cardigan, then Bilthwells, and then finally the 25th, Astragan Nice, the Welfare Hall. So.
All right. Okay. Is that the newish hall? Yes, nice. Is it?
Yeah, it's. I think it's an old hall, but I think they've done it up. So it's it's got all the nice facilities and stuff. So I better practice really. I better get on with it.
And then what? Then the week after you're out to work.
The week after we launch our Christmas single. I won't bore you with it now, but
no! Do you know what? How many records do you make a year? You make them every month. I can't keep up with you.
But the thing is, by the end of the year, you've got an album, haven't you? If you release one a month, that's 12. There we are.
I suppose, yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, I've recorded a new single with Bronwyn Lewis, the TikTok girl. It's fantastic. She's singing in Gymraeg, I'm singing in Saesneg, in English.
Do you know what? We should definitely think about doing a song together. We've been talking for 2 years.
2 years. Well, the thing is, next Christmas, we're going to have to come up with another idea. Last year, it was Michael Sheen and Catherine Zeta-Jones. This year, it's Bronwyn Lewis. Next year, it'll be me and you.
I mean,
the tap dancing twins, the glitter twins.
The tap dancing, yeah.
All right. Well, look, I better go on. I'll do some rehearsal. What have you got planned? Anything? It's half term with the kids, is it? You all right with the grandchildren?
Yeah. I got a week off because my son-in-law is taking the 2 grandchildren down to Southampton to see his mother and father for a couple of days.
Oh, lovely.
And my other daughter's gone off to Agadir for a week because she's a teacher, so she's got a week off. So I got no kids.
Enjoy half term then, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah, but Alwyn's working, so I'm on my own here. She's gone to, she's doing casualty this week.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, they rang her up, say, because Alwyn's one of these. She can learn something in 2 minutes flat, okay? Really? And some woman apparently was going to do this part in casualty. And then they changed the script, as they do, last minute. And she said, I can't learn it, I can't do it. And she pulled out, right? So agent rang Alwyn, she said, are you free Monday, Tuesday and Friday? She said, I'll have a look. Yes, I am. Why? But you can do casualty. So she's doing that. So she filmed yesterday, she's filming today, and she's filming Friday.
Fantastic. Okay. Look, I'll get this out nice and early, this podcast this week. It won't be Thursday. If with a bit of luck, it'll be out tonight, Tuesday night. So
okie dokie.
Let's get
you keep going, and good luck with your last gig of your tour.
And just remember, you can't ride 2 horses.
You can ride 2 horses from one half.
My bottom. So it's goodbye from
You're in
me.
show business. You've got to use the proper words. It's not good.
So sorry, it doesn't have the same impact with bottom, does it? It's all bottoms with you Americans. All right, it's goodbye from me, and it's
Goodbye from me. Ta-da.
ta-da.